Have you ever wondered why some relationships seem effortless while others are a constant struggle? Why do we often feel misunderstood or disconnected, even from those we care about the most? The answers may lie in the profound insights of one of the greatest minds in literature, Fyodor Dostoevsky. His timeless works don't just tell stories. They explore the depths of human connection, empathy, forgiveness, and the very essence of love. In today's video, we're diving deep into Dostoevsky's philosophy and uncovering how his lessons can transform your relationships, whether it's with your partner, family, friends, or even yourself. Trust me, what you'll learn here could be life-changing. Before we get started, don't forget to hit that like button. It helps the channel so much, and subscribe for more content that challenges your perspective and helps you grow. Share this video with anyone who might need a fresh take on relationships. And if you'd like to support the channel, you can donate using the Super Thanks button below. Let's spread these timeless ideas together. Now, let's begin. Dostoevsky's Notes from Underground offers an intricate exploration of human nature, diving into the paradoxes that define our thoughts, emotions, and actions. The Underground Man serves as a mirror to the complexities of human psychology, illustrating how contradictory impulses can shape our behavior. This character, simultaneously introspective and self-destructive, embodies the tension between rational thought and raw emotion. His existence is a rebellion against societal norms, a refusal to conform to expectations that often prioritize superficial harmony over genuine understanding. The Underground Man is not merely a fictional construct. He is a reflection of our inner struggles. Each of us, at some point, faces the dilemma of authenticity versus conformity. Society encourages us to wear masks, personas that project confidence, success, or contentment while suppressing the vulnerabilities and imperfections that make us human. The Underground Man's cynicism and defiance force us to question these facades. Are we truly ourselves when we conform to societal expectations? Or are we merely performing roles designed to avoid judgment and rejection? Consider the example of a friend who appears outgoing and confident in social settings. They are the life of the party, the person everyone gravitates toward. Yet, beneath this charismatic exterior, they may harbor deep insecurities, feelings of inadequacy, or fear of rejection. This duality mirrors the Underground Man's internal conflict. Outwardly, they conform to societal expectations of extroversion and charm, but inwardly, they grapple with doubts and self-criticism. The struggle to reconcile these opposing forces often leads to emotional exhaustion and a sense of disconnection. The lesson Dostoevsky imparts through the Underground Man is the importance of authenticity. Genuine connection can only occur when we embrace our true selves, imperfections and all. This requires courage, the courage to defy societal norms, to risk vulnerability, and to accept that not everyone will understand or accept us. Authenticity is not about rejecting societal norms entirely, but about finding a balance between external expectations and internal truth. It is about living in alignment with our values and emotions, even when they contradict the status quo. This theme is particularly relevant in the modern age of social media, where curated images and carefully crafted personas dominate our interactions. Platforms like Instagram and Facebook often showcase idealized versions of life, flawless vacations, perfect relationships, and effortless success. The pressure to conform to these ideals can create a disconnect between who we are and who we feel we should be. This digital facade amplifies the struggles of the Underground Man, as people increasingly prioritize external validation over internal fulfillment. Imagine a young professional constantly posting about their achievements, promotions, and travels. To their audience, they appear to lead an enviable life, filled with ambition and success. Yet, behind the scenes, they might feel unfulfilled, overworked, and disconnected from their own desires. Their posts are not lies but selective truths designed to fit a narrative that aligns with societal expectations. This cycle of performance and validation mirrors the Underground Man's experience, highlighting the universal nature of his struggles. Dostoevsky also critiques the rationalist philosophies of his time, which emphasize logic and reason as the ultimate guides to human behavior. The underground man rejects this notion, arguing that humans are not purely rational beings. We are driven by emotions, desires, and impulses that often defy logic. This perspective challenges the idea that there is a singular, objective path to happiness or fulfillment. Instead, it suggests that each individual must navigate their own complexities, acknowledging the irrational aspects of their nature. This insight has profound implications for how we approach relationships and self-understanding. In relationships, the pressure to conform to societal ideals such as being the perfect partner or friend can lead to superficial connections. When we prioritize appearances over substance, we miss the opportunity to form deeper, more meaningful bonds. Authentic relationships require vulnerability, honesty, and the willingness to confront uncomfortable truths about ourselves and others. For instance, think of a romantic relationship where one partner constantly tries to meet the other's expectations without expressing their own needs or desires. Over time, this imbalance creates resentment and emotional distance. The relationship becomes a performance rather than a partnership. By contrast, a relationship built on authenticity allows both partners to express their true selves, fostering trust and intimacy. This dynamic aligns with Dostoevsky's emphasis on embracing our contradictions and imperfections as a foundation for genuine connection. The underground man's narrative also serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of isolation. His cynicism and rejection of societal norms lead him to retreat from meaningful interactions, creating a cycle of loneliness and self-loathing. This isolation is both a cause and a consequence of his internal conflict, illustrating the interconnectedness of our inner and outer worlds. When we suppress our true selves, we not only alienate others, but also disconnect from our own humanity. Dostoevsky's exploration of the underground man resonates with the struggles many people face today. In a world that often prioritizes productivity, success, and image, the pursuit of authenticity can feel like a radical act. Yet, it is through this pursuit that we find the courage to confront our contradictions, embrace our humanity, and build deeper connections with others. By understanding the underground man's struggles, we gain insight into our own. His story reminds us that authenticity is not about perfection, but about honesty with ourselves and with those around us. It challenges us to look beyond societal expectations and embrace the complexities that make us who we are. In doing so, we can navigate the paradoxes of human nature with greater empathy, resilience, and authenticity. Dostoevsky's exploration of empathy in Crime and Punishment and his broader works reveals its transformative potential in human relationships. Empathy, for Dostoevsky, is not a superficial nicety but a profound moral and emotional force that bridges the gaps between people, dissolves judgments, and fosters genuine understanding. At its core, empathy requires us to step beyond our perspectives and prejudices to see the humanity in others, even when their flaws are glaring. In Crime and Punishment, the character of Raskolnikov embodies the moral complexity that challenges our capacity for empathy. His crime, a brutal murder committed under the guise of philosophical justification, seems unforgivable at first glance. Yet, Dostoevsky intricately weaves Raskolnikov's inner torment and guilt into the narrative, forcing readers to grapple with his humanity. Through his suffering and eventual redemption, Dostoevsky demonstrates that empathy does not mean condoning harmful actions, but understanding the struggles and vulnerabilities that lead to them. This idea resonates strongly in everyday life. Consider a scenario where a coworker is frequently late to meetings. At first, the immediate reaction might be irritation or judgment. It's easy to label them as irresponsible or inconsiderate. However, a closer look driven by empathy might uncover a deeper context. Perhaps they are caring for a sick child, juggling financial burdens, or struggling with mental health challenges. Empathy invites us to pause and reflect before passing judgment, transforming our frustration into understanding. This shift in perspective not only benefits the individual being judged, but also strengthens the relationship, fostering trust and compassion. Empathy's transformative power lies in its ability to dissolve barriers of misunderstanding and foster deeper connections. When we truly understand someone's struggles, we are more likely to approach them with kindness and patience, This principle is beautifully illustrated in Dostoevsky's portrayal of Sonia, a pivotal character in Crime and Punishment. Sonia, despite her own suffering and societal judgment, offers unwavering empathy to Raskolnikov. Her ability to see his humanity, even in the face of his crime, serves as a catalyst for his redemption. Through Sonia, Dostoevsky highlights the power of empathy to not only heal others, but also inspire change and growth. Empathy is not limited to extreme circumstances or dramatic acts of forgiveness. It is equally relevant in the small, everyday interactions that shape our lives. Imagine a situation where a friend cancels plans at the last minute. The instinctive reaction might be annoyance, especially if this is a recurring pattern. However, taking a moment to consider their perspective, perhaps they are overwhelmed with work, dealing with personal challenges, or simply exhausted, can shift our response from frustration to support. This empathetic approach encourages open communication and strengthens the relationship, creating a space where both parties feel valued and understood. Dostoevsky also emphasizes that empathy requires effort and vulnerability. It is not a passive quality, but an active process of stepping into another's shoes, even when it is uncomfortable or inconvenient. This is particularly relevant in conflicts, where empathy often takes a back seat to pride and defensiveness. In heated arguments, it is tempting to focus solely on our own perspective, dismissing the other person's feelings and experiences. However, empathy invites us to pause, listen, and genuinely consider their point of view. This does not mean sacrificing our own needs or beliefs, but finding a balance that acknowledges and respects both sides. For instance, think of a disagreement between two friends. One feels neglected because the other is spending more time with a new romantic partner. Without empathy, the conversation could devolve into accusations and defensiveness. But by approaching the situation with empathy, both parties can express their feelings and understand each other's perspective. The friend who feels neglected might realize that the new partner is not a replacement but a natural addition to their friend's life, while the friend in the relationship might recognize the importance of maintaining balance and nurturing their long-standing friendship. In a broader societal context, Dostoevsky's emphasis on empathy challenges us to confront our biases and assumptions. It is easy to judge individuals or groups based on stereotypes or limited information. However, true empathy requires us to look beyond surface-level judgments and seek deeper understanding. This principle is especially relevant in today's polarized world, where political, cultural, and social divides often hinder meaningful dialogue. Empathy does not require agreement but understanding. It encourages us to ask questions, listen actively, and approach differences with curiosity rather than hostility. An example of this can be seen in conversations about homelessness. Many people harbor assumptions about why someone might be homeless, often attributing it to laziness or poor choices. However, empathy compels us to consider the systemic factors such as lack of affordable housing, mental health issues, or job instability that contribute to homelessness. By understanding these complexities, we can replace judgment with compassion and advocate for solutions that address the root causes. Empathy also plays a crucial role in self-awareness and personal growth. Dostoevsky's characters often grapple with their own capacity for empathy, revealing that understanding others begins with understanding oneself. Raskolnikov's journey, for instance, is as much about self-empathy as it is about seeking forgiveness from others. His ability to confront his guilt and acknowledge his humanity is a key step in his path to redemption. This introspective aspect of empathy reminds us that compassion must extend inward. When we are kind and understanding toward ourselves, we are better equipped to extend the same grace to others. In everyday life, self-empathy might involve acknowledging our own limitations and forgiving ourselves for mistakes. For example, a parent who feels guilty for not spending enough time with their children due to work commitments can practice self-empathy by recognizing their efforts to provide for their family and striving to find balance without self-recrimination. This self-compassion not only alleviates unnecessary guilt, but also sets a positive example for their children, teaching them the importance of self-kindness. Dostoevsky's exploration of empathy ultimately underscores its transformative potential not just for individuals, but for society as a whole. Empathy fosters deeper connections, promotes understanding, and creates a foundation for meaningful relationships. It challenges us to look beyond our own perspectives and embrace the complexity of human experience. Whether in the context of a novel, a personal interaction, or a broader societal issue, empathy serves as a bridge that unites us, reminding us of our shared humanity and the power of compassion to create change. Dostoevsky's exploration of forgiveness in The Brothers Karamazov provides a profound insight into its transformative and redemptive power. Forgiveness, as depicted through Alyosha's character, serves not as an acceptance of wrongdoing, but as a path to liberation from the emotional burdens of anger and resentment. Alyosha's faith in humanity and his capacity to forgive exemplify how letting go of bitterness can foster healing not just for the forgiven, but also for the forgiver. This message resonates deeply in both personal and societal contexts, where grudges often fracture relationships and perpetuate cycles of pain. Forgiveness, at its core, is not about excusing harmful actions or pretending they never occurred. Instead, it is a conscious decision to release oneself from the emotional grip of those actions. Holding on to resentment often feels justified, especially when the harm done is significant. However, this bitterness can be corrosive, eroding our well-being and impairing our ability to form meaningful connections. Forgiveness breaks this cycle, offering a chance for renewal and growth. It is not a sign of weakness, but a powerful act of self-liberation. Imagine a situation where a close friend betrays your trust by sharing a personal secret. The immediate reaction might be anger, disappointment, and a desire to distance yourself from them. While these feelings are valid, holding on to resentment can create a persistent sense of negativity that overshadows your life. On the other hand, choosing to forgive does not mean condoning their behavior, but recognizing their humanity and giving both parties an opportunity to move forward. This act of forgiveness can pave the way for open communication, reconciliation, and a stronger bond built on understanding and mutual respect. Dostoevsky extends this idea of forgiveness to self-forgiveness, emphasizing its importance for personal growth and emotional well-being. Self-forgiveness is often more challenging than forgiving others because it requires confronting our own flaws and mistakes. People tend to hold themselves to higher standards, and when they fall short, guilt and self-recrimination can take root. However, refusing to forgive oneself can lead to a paralyzing cycle of shame, hindering growth and preventing the formation of healthier relationships. Consider a professional who makes a critical error at work, leading to a project's failure. The mistake might haunt them, causing self-doubt and anxiety in future endeavors. Without self-forgiveness, they may struggle to move forward, fearing failure at every turn. Forgiving oneself in this scenario involves acknowledging the mistake, taking responsibility, and learning from the experience without dwelling on it. This process not only fosters personal growth, but also builds resilience, enabling the individual to face future challenges with greater confidence. Alyosha's perspective on forgiveness in The Brothers Karamazov reflects this balance of accountability and compassion. He demonstrates that forgiveness is not about denying wrongdoing, but about recognizing the potential for change in every individual. This belief in humanity's capacity for redemption is central to Dostoevsky's philosophy. It suggests that even in the face of profound harm, forgiveness can inspire transformation and healing. This idea is particularly relevant in strained family relationships, where unresolved conflicts often create long-standing rifts. Imagine siblings who have grown apart due to years of misunderstandings and perceived slights. Both parties may feel justified in their resentment, believing that the other is at fault. However, forgiveness requires a shift in perspective, a willingness to acknowledge one's own role in the conflict, and an openness to reconciliation. By letting go of past grievances, the siblings can rebuild their relationship, finding common ground and rediscovering the bond they once shared. Dostoevsky's exploration of forgiveness also highlights its societal implications. In a world often driven by retribution and punishment, forgiveness offers an alternative path, one that prioritizes healing over vengeance. This perspective is particularly relevant in the context of restorative justice, an approach that seeks to repair harm by fostering dialogue and understanding between offenders and victims. Restorative justice emphasizes accountability and amends, but also allows space for empathy and forgiveness, creating opportunities for both parties to heal. For example, consider a community program where individuals who have committed minor offenses meet with those affected by their actions. Through facilitated conversations, the offenders hear firsthand how their actions impacted others, while the victims gain insight into the circumstances that led to the offense. This process often leads to mutual understanding and, in many cases, forgiveness. Such initiatives demonstrate that forgiveness can be a powerful force for rebuilding trust and strengthening communities. On a personal level, the process of forgiveness, whether directed toward others or oneself, is rarely linear or easy. It often involves confronting painful emotions, challenging deeply held beliefs, and taking incremental steps toward healing. This journey requires patience and self-compassion. Forgiveness is not about forgetting or erasing the past. It is about reframing it in a way that allows for growth and peace. One example of this is a parent-child relationship strained by years of miscommunication and unmet expectations. A parent who feels guilt for not being present during their child's formative years may struggle to forgive themselves, while the child may harbor resentment for perceived neglect. Forgiveness in this scenario requires both parties to acknowledge their pain, express their feelings, and work toward understanding each other's perspectives. This process can be difficult and emotionally taxing, but it holds the potential for profound healing and a renewed relationship. Dostoevsky's portrayal of forgiveness reminds us that it is not a one-time act, but an ongoing practice. It requires a commitment to empathy, understanding, and compassion, even in the face of imperfection. Forgiveness does not erase pain, but transforms it, turning wounds into opportunities for growth and connection. Whether in personal relationships, family dynamics, or broader societal contexts, forgiveness offers a path to healing, a way to break free from the chains of bitterness and embrace the possibilities of renewal. Through this practice, we not only heal our own emotional wounds, but also contribute to a more compassionate and understanding world. Dostoevsky's The Idiot portrays love and human connection as both deeply rewarding and incredibly challenging, emphasizing their essential role in our existence. Through the character of Prince Mishkin, Dostoevsky paints a picture of love that is pure, selfless, and untainted by societal cynicism. Mishkin's innocence and openness stand in stark contrast to the manipulative and transactional relationships that often dominate his surroundings. This contrast forces us to reflect on what it means to love and connect authentically, reminding us that meaningful relationships are built on vulnerability, trust, and effort rather than perfection or pretense. In the modern world, the complexities of love and connection remain as relevant as ever. Social expectations and cultural narratives often paint an idealized version of love: flawless, effortless, and devoid of conflict. Yet, as Dostoevsky reveals, true connection is far messier and requires us to embrace imperfection. Mishkin's unwavering honesty and compassion highlight the importance of authenticity in relationships. He does not conform to societal expectations or play emotional games. Instead, he approaches people with genuine care and understanding, even when it leaves him vulnerable. Authenticity is a cornerstone of real love, but it demands courage. Being authentic means showing our true selves' flaws, insecurities, and all entrusting that we will be accepted despite our imperfections. This vulnerability can be daunting, especially in a world that often prioritizes appearances over substance. However, it is only through this openness that we can form connections that are truly meaningful. Consider a couple navigating a long-distance relationship, a situation that inherently tests their bond. Without physical proximity, their connection hinges on honest communication and emotional transparency. By sharing their fears, struggles, and hopes, they build a foundation of trust that sustains them through the challenges of distance. This example illustrates how vulnerability is not a weakness but a strength that deepens intimacy and fosters resilience. Dostoevsky also explores the challenges that arise when love is tainted by societal cynicism or selfishness. In The Idiot, many characters view Mishkin's kindness and idealism as naive or even foolish, often manipulating his openness for their gain. This dynamic underscores the tension between purity of intention and the harsh realities of human behavior. Mishkin's experiences reveal that love, while essential, is rarely straightforward. It requires navigating misunderstandings, conflicts, and the imperfections of both ourselves and others. This complexity is evident in everyday relationships, whether romantic, familial, or platonic. Take, for instance, a friendship where one person feels neglected due to the other's busy schedule. The neglected friend might interpret the lack of attention as a sign of disinterest or fading affection. However, approaching the situation with vulnerability, expressing their feelings honestly, and seeking to understand the other's perspective can prevent resentment and strengthen the bond. This scenario demonstrates that love and connection thrive not in the absence of conflict, but in the willingness to address and overcome it together. Trust is another crucial element of meaningful relationships, and it is closely tied to vulnerability and communication. Trust takes time to build but can be easily shattered by dishonesty or betrayal. Dostoevsky's characters often grapple with the fragility of trust, highlighting its importance in fostering connection. In real life, trust is cultivated through consistent actions and open dialogue. For example, in a romantic partnership, sharing personal struggles or admitting mistakes can feel risky but ultimately strengthens the relationship by demonstrating authenticity and accountability. Resilience is another key lesson from The Idiot. True connection endures not because it is free of challenges, but because both parties are committed to overcoming them. Relationships require effort, patience, and a willingness to adapt. Imagine a family navigating financial difficulties. The stress of the situation could easily strain their relationships, leading to arguments and blame. However, by supporting each other and maintaining open communication, they can emerge stronger and more united. This resilience reflects Dostoevsky's belief in the transformative power of love and connection. Dostoevsky also emphasizes that love is not confined to romantic relationships, but extends to all forms of human connection. Mishkin's compassion for others, regardless of their status or behavior, demonstrates that love is a universal force that transcends individual desires. This idea resonates in our daily interactions, from helping a stranger in need to offering a listening ear to a struggling friend. These small acts of kindness and empathy build a sense of community and remind us of our shared humanity. The portrayal of love in The Idiot challenges us to examine our own relationships and the values we bring to them. Are we prioritizing authenticity, trust, and resilience? Or are we succumbing to superficial ideals and societal pressures? Real love is not about grand gestures or perfect harmony. It is about the small, consistent efforts that create a foundation of mutual understanding and respect. It requires us to show up, even when it's uncomfortable, and to embrace the imperfections that make us human. Consider the example of parents raising a child with a developmental disability. The journey is often filled with challenges, from navigating societal stigma to managing daily struggles. Yet, their love for their child motivates them to persevere, adapt, and advocate for their family. This resilience and dedication reflect the depth of their connection, proving that love is not measured by ease, but by the strength it provides in the face of adversity. Dostoevsky's exploration of love in The Idiot ultimately reminds us that connection is at the core of human existence. It is through our relationships with partners, family, friends, and even strangers that we find meaning and purpose. While love may be complex and often challenging, it is also a source of profound joy and strength. By embracing vulnerability, prioritizing authenticity, and committing to the effort required, we can cultivate connections that enrich our lives and reflect the best of what it means to be human. Dostoevsky's philosophy offers a profound framework for improving modern relationships by encouraging self-awareness, empathy, forgiveness, and authenticity. To apply his insights in daily life, we must first confront the underground man, within ourselves, the part of us that harbors insecurities, contradictory impulses, and self-sabotaging behaviors. By identifying these patterns, we can address the tendencies that hinder genuine connection and take steps toward building healthier, more fulfilling relationships. Self-awareness is the foundation of this transformation. Recognizing how our own insecurities and impulses manifest in interactions can prevent unnecessary conflicts and misunderstandings. For instance, imagine someone who often feels unappreciated in their relationships. This perception might stem from past experiences or internalized beliefs rather than the actions of those around them. If unchecked, it could lead to resentment or passive-aggressive behavior. By reflecting on these feelings and understanding their origin, the individual can communicate their needs more effectively, fostering openness rather than creating distance. Empathy is another cornerstone of Dostoevsky's philosophy, and its application can dramatically enhance the quality of our relationships. In the rush of daily life, it is easy to make assumptions about others' actions without considering their underlying motivations. However, taking the time to pause and view situations from another person's perspective can reveal complexities we might have overlooked. Consider a common scenario: a coworker who snaps at you during a stressful meeting. While the initial reaction might be irritation or defensiveness, empathy encourages you to consider whether they might be overwhelmed, facing pressure from a deadline, or dealing with personal challenges. This shift in perspective can transform your response from confrontation to understanding, diffusing tension and fostering a more collaborative dynamic. Empathy is equally critical in personal relationships, where emotional stakes are often higher. For example, in a disagreement between romantic partners, each person might focus on proving their point rather than understanding the other's perspective. This defensive stance can escalate the conflict and create emotional distance. However, by actively listening and acknowledging the other person's feelings, both parties can move toward resolution. A simple yet powerful practice is to repeat back what the other person has expressed to ensure clarity and show that their perspective is valued. This approach not only resolves the immediate conflict, but also strengthens the bond by fostering trust and mutual respect. Forgiveness, as Dostoevsky emphasizes, is another transformative element of relationships, whether directed toward others or ourselves. Forgiveness liberates us from the weight of resentment and guilt, allowing space for healing and growth. In modern relationships, the ability to forgive is essential for navigating the inevitable conflicts and mistakes that arise. For instance, imagine a close friend who unintentionally hurts your feelings with a thoughtless comment. While the instinctive response might be to withdraw or hold a grudge, forgiveness invites you to address the issue constructively. By expressing your feelings and giving the friend an opportunity to apologize, you not only resolve the conflict but also deepen your connection. Self-forgiveness is equally important, particularly in the context of personal growth. Many people struggle with feelings of inadequacy or regret over past mistakes, which can impact their ability to form healthy relationships. For example, someone who has experienced a failed relationship might internalize the blame, carrying guilt and self-doubt into future interactions. Forgiving oneself involves acknowledging the mistakes, understanding the lessons they offer, and letting go of the shame attached to them. This process not only fosters personal resilience, but also creates a foundation for more authentic and fulfilling connections. Authenticity is perhaps the most challenging yet rewarding aspect of Dostoevsky's philosophy to apply in modern relationships. In a world that often prioritizes appearances and conformity, being authentic requires courage. It means embracing vulnerability and showing up as your true self, even at the risk of rejection or misunderstanding. Authenticity fosters deeper connections by allowing others to see and accept you for who you are, rather than a polished version of yourself. This principle is particularly relevant in the age of social media, where curated images and idealized narratives dominate. While these platforms can facilitate connection, they often encourage comparison and inauthenticity. For instance, someone might feel pressure to present a perfect relationship online, sharing photos that depict happiness while concealing underlying struggles. This performative approach not only creates unrealistic expectations, but also undermines the authenticity necessary for genuine intimacy. By prioritizing honest communication and acknowledging both the highs and lows of a relationship, individuals can cultivate a connection that is far more meaningful than any online portrayal. Small, intentional acts of understanding and care can have a profound impact on the quality of our relationships. Simple practices, such as active listening, expressing gratitude, and acknowledging others' feelings, can strengthen bonds and create a sense of emotional safety. For example, a parent who makes an effort to listen attentively to their child's concerns, even when they seem trivial, demonstrates empathy and validates the child's emotions. This practice builds trust and fosters a sense of security, laying the foundation for a strong and supportive relationship. Similarly, in friendships, small gestures can communicate care and appreciation. Imagine a friend who remembers your favorite coffee order and surprises you with it on a difficult day. While this act might seem minor, it reflects thoughtfulness and attentiveness, reinforcing the bond between you. These moments of connection remind us that relationships are nurtured not by grand gestures, but by consistent efforts to show up and be present for one another. Applying Dostoevsky's philosophy also involves recognizing and addressing patterns of behavior that hinder connection. For instance, someone who habitually avoids conflict might unintentionally create distance in their relationships by suppressing their true feelings. While conflict can be uncomfortable, avoiding it altogether prevents the resolution of underlying issues and fosters resentment over time. By addressing conflicts directly and constructively, individuals can strengthen their relationships and build a foundation of trust. This approach requires courage and self-awareness, but offers significant rewards. For example, consider a workplace dynamic where a manager notices that one of their team members seems disengaged. Instead of ignoring the issue or assuming laziness, the manager could initiate an open and empathetic conversation to understand the employee's perspective. This dialogue might reveal challenges such as burnout or personal stress, allowing the manager to provide support and reestablish trust. By addressing the issue proactively, the relationship between the manager and employee improves, benefiting both individuals and the broader team dynamic. Ultimately, integrating Dostoevsky's philosophy into modern relationships calls for a commitment to empathy, forgiveness, authenticity, and self-awareness. These principles are not always easy to practice, especially in a fast-paced world that often prioritizes convenience and superficiality over depth and connection. However, the effort to apply these insights pays off in the form of stronger, more meaningful relationships that enrich our lives and reflect our shared humanity. By embracing these practices, we not only honor Dostoevsky's wisdom, but also create a framework for navigating the complexities of modern relationships with grace and compassion. Dostoevsky's exploration of human relationships offers a profound framework for navigating the complexities of connection. His works remind us that relationships are not about achieving perfection, but about embracing effort, understanding, and love as tools for growth. The beauty of Dostoevsky's philosophy lies in its recognition of human imperfection not as a flaw, but as a defining characteristic of our shared experience. This understanding allows us to approach relationships with greater compassion, patience, and resilience, fostering deeper bonds that withstand life's challenges. The idea of embracing authenticity is central to Dostoevsky's view on relationships. Authenticity requires us to shed the masks we wear to conform to societal expectations or protect ourselves from vulnerability. It means presenting our true selves' flaws, insecurities, and all, and trusting that genuine connection arises from honesty rather than pretense. In today's world, this principle is particularly relevant, as the pressure to project an idealized version of ourselves often creates emotional barriers. Social media, for example, encourages curated portrayals of perfection, making it easy to feel disconnected or inadequate when comparing ourselves to others. Dostoevsky's philosophy challenges us to reject these superficial ideals and focus instead on the authenticity that fosters meaningful relationships. Empathy is another cornerstone of Dostoevsky's blueprint for connection. He portrays empathy not as a passive emotion, but as an active practice of seeing and understanding others, even in their flaws and mistakes. This is evident in many of his characters. who navigate moral and emotional complexities that force them to confront their capacity for understanding. Empathy requires stepping into another person's perspective, even when their actions or circumstances seem difficult to grasp. This practice not only deepens our connections, but also fosters a sense of shared humanity, reminding us that everyone carries burdens and struggles that influence their behavior. Consider a story of a young woman striving to reconnect with her estranged father after years of misunderstanding and silence. She feels anger and hurt over his absence during her childhood, while he carries guilt and shame for the choices that distanced him from his family. Applying empathy, the young woman begins to see her father not as the source of her pain, but as a flawed human being with his own struggles and regrets. Through open conversations and a willingness to listen without judgment, she gains insight into his experiences and motivations. This understanding enables her to forgive him, and in doing so, she releases herself from the bitterness that once defined their relationship. Her journey illustrates Dostoevsky's belief in the transformative power of empathy, forgiveness, and vulnerability to rebuild broken bonds. Forgiveness, as Dostoevsky emphasizes, is not about excusing harm, but about choosing to let go of the anger and resentment that can weigh us down. In relationships, forgiveness is a pathway to healing and renewal. It allows us to move forward without being trapped by the pain of the past. Forgiveness is not always easy. It requires acknowledging hurt, processing emotions, and choosing to release blame. However, it is one of the most profound gifts we can offer to ourselves and to others. By forgiving, we affirm the possibility of redemption and change, a theme Dostoevsky weaves throughout his works. In the context of personal relationships, forgiveness often begins with small but meaningful actions. Imagine a couple facing a breach of trust, such as one partner forgetting an important promise. While the immediate reaction might be disappointment or frustration, forgiveness invites a different response. Instead of dwelling on the mistake, the couple can discuss their feelings, clarify their expectations, and work together to prevent similar issues in the future. This process strengthens their bond, reinforcing their commitment to mutual growth and understanding. Dostoevsky also highlights the importance of effort in building and maintaining relationships. Love and connection are not static. They require consistent care and attention to thrive. This effort can take many forms, from expressing gratitude and support to addressing conflicts constructively and seeking compromise. Relationships, like life, are dynamic and ever-changing, demanding adaptability and resilience. They are not about avoiding challenges, but about facing them together, learning from them, and emerging stronger on the other side. For instance, think of a friendship tested by distance or differing life circumstances. Two childhood friends may find their bond strained as one moves to a new city for work while the other stays behind. Maintaining the friendship requires effort, frequent communication, visits, and finding creative ways to stay connected despite physical separation. While this effort might feel challenging at times, it reinforces the value of the relationship and keeps the bond alive. Dostoevsky's philosophy reminds us that meaningful connections are worth the investment, even when they require us to step out of our comfort zones. The imperfections that Dostoevsky celebrates in his characters and relationships are a vital part of his philosophy. He challenges the notion that love and connection must be flawless to be meaningful. Instead, he shows that it is through our flaws and struggles that we grow closer to one another. Imperfection creates opportunities for empathy, understanding, and forgiveness, which are the true building blocks of lasting relationships. A parent's patience with a child's mistakes, a partner's acceptance of quirks, or a friend's support during difficult times all reflect the power of embracing imperfection in our connections. This perspective is especially powerful in moments of conflict or adversity. When relationships are tested, it can be tempting to focus on what is lacking or broken. However, Dostoevsky's philosophy encourages us to view these challenges as opportunities for growth and renewal. Conflict, when approached with empathy and authenticity, can lead to deeper understanding and stronger bonds. It is not the absence of difficulties that defines a healthy relationship, but the willingness to face them with grace and commitment. Dostoevsky's works ultimately reveal that relationships are a journey of growth, understanding, and connection. They are not static achievements but evolving dynamics that reflect our shared humanity. His philosophy calls us to embrace the messiness of human connection, recognizing that the imperfections and challenges we encounter are what make love truly profound. By applying these principles in our daily lives, we can cultivate relationships that are not only more fulfilling but also more resilient and authentic. Through effort, empathy, forgiveness, and authenticity, we can navigate the complexities of connection with greater wisdom and compassion. Honoring Dostoevsky's timeless insights into the beauty and depth of human relationships. As we've explored today, Dostoevsky's works offer more than just great stories. They provide a blueprint for understanding ourselves and building deeper, more meaningful connections with others. From embracing our imperfections to practicing empathy, forgiveness, and authenticity, his philosophy reminds us that relationships are not about perfection but about growth, understanding, and love. So, I want to leave you with this question. How can you apply these lessons to your own relationships? Whether it's mending a broken bond, forgiving yourself, or showing more vulnerability, the journey starts with just one small step. If this video resonated with you, please take a moment to like and share it. It helps spread these ideas to others who might need them. Subscribe to the channel for more thought-provoking content. And if you'd like to support our work, consider donating through the Super Thanks button below. Your support means the world to us and helps keep this channel going strong. Thank you for watching. And remember, the beauty of human connection lies in its imperfections. Let's continue exploring, growing, and connecting together. Until next time, take care and keep reflecting.